Hey there YouTube. Let's take a look at a build for Red Supernova Dragon, as it's been quite a while since I last had one in the channel. Like, comment and subscribe if you can, and without further ado, let's get to the deck list. The main reason I was avoiding making builds for Supernova is because, frankly, I don't think it was possible to be competitive with it in the previous meta. A ton of decks were running Adventurer Engine, which made Supernova itself nearly useless, since that engine happens to have a free searchable out to it. This build is using the Swordsoul engine, to make the deck as competitive as possible. Swordsoul helps out with a few of the Resonators issues, like the lack of good follow-up plays if Supernova is dealt with, and giving you more options when going second. Of course, building the deck like this does mean you'll be playing standard Swordsoul duels sometimes. If that doesn't sound very appealing, I'll have a more standard Resonator build up later. In this deck, we max out on all the level 4 Swordsoul cards and ways to access them, as they are the main bridge that connects to the Resonator engine. The main idea is to combine Crimson Resonator with a level 4 Swordsoul. Even if the Swordsoul gets negated, you can follow up by going into Red Rising Dragon and bringing the Crimson Resonator back. The previous build I had in the channel also made use of Hockey Fibrax and Auroradon, but of course, that's no longer an option. If you want to check that version out, I'll have it linked in the description. Before we get to the games, I do want to make a little observation. The quality of duels here might not be as high as in my other videos. What I'm gonna describe has always been a bit of an issue in Master Duel, but this month, in my experience, it's gotten much worse. The issue is, when you get to Diamond 1 rank, the game will almost exclusively match you with other Diamond 1 players. And because there is no real incentive to keep a good win-loss ratio after you get to Diamond 1, you end up running into tons of matches with bots, really bad meme decks, people farming missions, and so on. As I mentioned before, in previous seasons it was less of a problem. I could still find good matches frequently at the max rank. This month in particular has been terrible in this regard for whatever reason. With that little rant out of the way, let's get to some games. Here's a quick example of one of the more standard turn 1 plays the deck has. Most plays involving the Resonator engine tend to end up very similar, since Crimson Resonator puts very severe restrictions on what you can do for the turn, there isn't much room for variety. The big difference for this version, as I mentioned, is having the Swordsoul backbone to fall into for follow-up turns, or when you need more versatile plays to out something. Now for a going second duel. As I said in the intro, it's been hard to find good matches in Diamond 1 this season. I'll leave you with some more games, but if you're interested in Resonators or Supernova Dragon builds in general, and if you haven't yet checked out my other videos, I'll have a bunch of them linked in the description and in the pinned comment. For the most part they all still work fine. Thanks for watching.